For a moment, they seemed unbeatable. A giant born from the currents of online shopping, ready to change everything.
Have to figure out a way to compete with Shein and Temu.
I know, they're selling a microwave for $2?
That doesn't even make sense. How do their margins work?
I don't know, their website just offered me 100% off my order.
Temu. Their name was everywhere like a virus, spread by millions. They were everywhere you looked. Big Super Bowl ads, viral TikTok videos.
By far the highlight of that Super Bowl for me was the Temu commercial.
Temu really paid for 3 Super Bowl commercials just to teach us how to pronounce it.
Even those cheap kitchen gadgets delivered right to your door.
This is an orange peeler I got off of Temu for $1.
It felt like they were taking over, like an empire growing incredibly fast. But now, something huge has happened.
I found some pretty shady information about Temu that I haven't heard anyone talk about.
The US government is coming for Shein and Temu, and we called it.
In just a few shocking weeks, this massive company has shrunk. They lost tens of millions of users. The once powerful Temu is falling apart, its quick rise, now a quick crash. The secret that made them so strong, the hidden trick that made them unbeatable is now gone. The money for ads has dried up. Shipping, which used to be fast, is now slow. And those super cheap prices, they're not so cheap anymore. But here's the crazy part. No one is really talking about it. In this story, we'll show you exactly what caused this collapse. Rewind just 1 year ago. Temu was the fastest growing app in America, and for a good reason. They promised prices so unreasonably low, they seemed fake. Phone stands for $1, free shipping on absolutely everything. No minimums, no special memberships, no tricks. But it wasn't just the prices. Temu launched with a huge advertising attack you couldn't miss. They ran Super Bowl ads one after another. They bought expensive ad spots on TV.
Scammer, you sold me this tablet.
Broken screen? That won't turn on? Water damage? That's terrible.
Yeah, it's useless, and it cost me 500 pounds.
They worked with
our
thousands
product.
of online
Our tablets
influencers who flooded TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram with videos showing off their shopping packages.
Always wondered if these things are actually real items. So today I'm gonna buy a bunch of stuff from the website and see if it's real.
$50
or
worth
just
of
a scam.
stuff. Sometimes 15 or 20 items, all for the price of peanuts. At first, people thought it was a scam. But those who tried it loved it. Others thought it would be the next Amazon. News spread fast, and downloads exploded. By early 2025, Temu had more than 60 million daily users in the United States, with over 130 million total downloads. They even beat Amazon and Walmart to become the #1 most downloaded app on both iPhones and Android phones. How did they do this amazing thing? 2 words, de minimis. This is a little-known trade rule hidden deep in US customs law. It basically means that if an imported package is worth less than $800, you don't pay taxes on it. No import taxes, no long waits at customs, just a direct delivery to your door tax-free. De minimis was made for personal packages and small orders. But Temu figured out how to use it in a huge way. They broke big orders into many small packages. Each shipment stayed under the $800 limit, even if you bought 10 items. Since the goods came straight from warehouses in China, they completely avoided US taxes. And second, they benefited from a shipping deal that made it cheaper to send a package from China to the US than to send that same package across states within the United States. This is how Temu could sell a $2 phone charger with free shipping and still make money. Meanwhile, US sellers had to pay full shipping costs, full taxes, and full platform fees. It was a smart trick, but an extremely fragile one. Because their whole business, the prices, the speed, the profits, all depended on that loophole staying open. And they weren't the only ones doing it. Shein, Wish, and even Alibaba used the same plan to send millions of cheap packages into the US every day. At one point, US Customs guessed that over 2 million de minimis packages were entering the country every single day, most of them from China. Meanwhile, store owners and online shop owners in the US were furious. They called it unfair competition. How could the government leave a back door open that let overseas sellers avoid the rules that US companies had to follow? Then in May of 2025, the US government finally acted.
A special exemption that prevented tariffs from being imposed on some packages coming from China expired overnight. So what does that mean? That means you could be paying more at checkout and then dealing with really long delivery times.
Everything started to fall apart on May 2nd of this year. That's when the US government officially closed the loophole Temu had been using to destroy the competition.
The Trump administration is ending today something called the de minimis exemption. Until today, it's let packages under $800 come into the U.S., mostly from China, duty-free. As you said, Marky, that's as many as 4 million packages a day. And that rule that expired at 12:01 a.m., it was created because sometimes processing a tariff fee on those small packages would cost more than the fee itself.
The so-called de minimis exemption. Now, those same products had to pay import taxes, regular taxes, and go through customs checks. Shipping times became much slower. Costs shot up. Suddenly, that $3 phone charger cost Temu more to ship than they were selling it for.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of product here, Marky. President Trump has called this loophole a scam. Again, others have called it a loophole, but it ends today. And it could, as we said, mean higher prices and even delivery delays for people at home.
Soon after May 2nd, some items completely disappeared from the app. Others quietly got more expensive. And free shipping started taking 2 to 3 weeks. For customers who were used to fast and cheap, it didn't feel like a good deal anymore to these users who have been spoiled rotten with the Temu cheap buying lifestyle. Temu tried to react fast. They cut their US ad budget by more than 80%. They stopped working with online stars and stopped offering rewards for inviting friends. But it wasn't enough. The app quickly fell from the top of the charts. And within just a couple of weeks, Temu lost over half of its US users. That's tens of millions of people who stopped opening the app, stopped ordering, and never came back. App downloads dropped by a whooping 73%. Daily user activity fell by 58%. Even loyal users who used to love the app started writing reviews that told a very different story. I used to get my orders in 8 days. Now it's taking 3 weeks. They raised the price of everything and half my order didn't even show up.
Temu बिना टैक्स के प्रोडक्ट्स भेज रहा था, अब उसे भी वही टैक्सेस देने पड़ेंगे. इस वजह से प्राइसेस सडनली हाइक कर गई हैं.
Temu's whole promise, cheap, fast and exciting, had broken down in just weeks. Behind the scenes, the company was frantically trying to fix things. But the moves they made next only made things worse. With user numbers dropping fast and shipping costs soaring out of control, Temu had to change their plan, and fast. So they tried to completely rethink their business. Instead of sending everything directly from China, Temu started moving to US-based shipping. This meant putting some items in warehouses in America, and more importantly, asking the sellers themselves to handle shipping, customs, and rules. In theory, this was supposed to solve everything. Faster delivery, more local control, and less relying on taxes. But putting it into action was messy. Warehouses weren't fully stocked. Some orders were delayed by weeks, and others were split up and sent by different shippers. Temu, which used to be proud of being reliable, suddenly looked like a company falling apart.
Chinese sellers hate Temu so much. This is the headquarters of Temu in Guangzhou, China. Hundreds of Temu sellers are fined more than millions of RMB, tens of thousands of US dollars. So you can see hundreds of people are gathering here and asking for their money back. Well, you can enjoy the free return and the cheap product on Temu, but the sellers are suffering because
what Temu tried next was very clever. They launched a huge effort to get US sellers, especially those already selling on Amazon.
And this is happening with thousands of products right now. Temu is selling unbranded products that are being sold at much higher prices on Amazon, and people are noticing.
Apparently, sellers on Temu are copying entire Amazon storefronts. stealing all their products and then shipping basically counterfeit products from China for a lot cheaper.
Their offer was hard to refuse. Super low fees, no listing costs, and free advertising. And the most tempting part, millions of eyes on their products without any of Amazon's strict rules. For sellers who were tired of Amazon's high fees and tight rules, selling on Temu was very tempting. But Amazon quickly figured out what was happening. And when they didn't just give a warning, they hit hard.
This e-commerce giant is rapidly stealing customers from Amazon, and if you're not paying attention, your business could be at risk.
If you're doing Amazon FBA, you're about to get screwed because I just watched this video. Amazon declares war on Temu and screws all FBA sellers.
Many sellers who listed the same products on both Temu and Amazon suddenly lost their buy box. By the way, the buy box is that little section beside the product where the Add to Cart and Buy Now button are placed to buy from whichever vendor Amazon chooses. In some cases, their products were completely hidden. Accounts were flagged. And on seller forums, news spread fast. If Amazon catches you on Temu, you're finished. No appeals, no explanations, just gone. Suddenly, Temu wasn't just a new place to sell, it became a risk. US sellers became very hesitant to join. Existing products started to disappear, and on the app itself, over 30% of the products vanished. Items arrived late or didn't show up at all, and the super cheap prices weren't showing up like they used to. The shopping experience, which used to be smooth and fun, now just felt very annoying. And here's the worst part. Temu couldn't even advertise its way out of trouble. With their US ad budget cut by more than 80%, the company stopped almost all TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and affiliate promotions. So no more videos from online stars, no more freebie codes, and no more content to make people aware of the brand. For a while, it looked like Temu would be the next big thing in global online shopping. Its growth was huge, its prices were unbeatable, and its parent company, PDD Holdings, had become one of the most valuable tech companies in China.
Colin Huang, the tech tycoon and founder of e-commerce giant Temu, has become China's richest person. Now,
Pinduoduo, or PDD for short, is the company behind Temu, and had already been running one of the biggest e-commerce systems in China successfully, selling mostly unbranded and affordable products to consumers in China. So it is safe to say Temu is PDD's system for global expansion. But when PDD released its latest earnings report, the truth finally hit. Profits were down almost 50% from the year before. People were using the app less. Getting new customers had stopped. And the cost of doing business, especially in the United States, had skyrocketed in just 1 month. Temu had built its entire US business on tiny profits, cheap shipping, and heavy spending on ads. Once those costs went up and the loopholes closed, the whole plan started to fall apart. This wasn't just a bad quarter. It was a clear sign that Temu's strategy to win, huge discounts, tricky shipping, and viral marketing, was no longer going to work. PDD's stock dropped almost 14% in a single day, wiping out billions of dollars in company value. Temu's advantage was gone. Its pricing edge had disappeared. Without the de minimis loophole, it was just another online marketplace with too many costs and not enough loyal customers. So where does that leave Temu right now? Well, in the US, Temu isn't completely gone yet. But the huge drop in users, the stopping of aggressive advertising, and the sudden switch to US shipping have put the company in survival mode. But Temu continues to operate in other countries like it's another Tuesday. Remember to subscribe for more brand tales.